The following stream contains mature content and subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
Long before the sects divided, there was the enveloping darkness. It was in this dark humanity learned to trust the light, to run from shadows, and most importantly, to fear.
Brutality and superstition walked hand in hand in this dark time, but also hope. Hope that the heroes of this age could hold back the monsters and illuminate the path through the shadows.
The children of Cain are no different. Some run from the shadows, some turn to the light, and some become the monsters of legend passed down from one hearth to another.
Their story is one of loss, one of struggle, and one of death. For what can survive in the wake of those that cannot die?
This is what it means to be a myth made flesh. This is what it means to be a vampire in the Dark Ages.
Welcome to our Vampire Dark Ages stream. We here at McStabber Studios understand that some of the subjects that come up during this chronicle are problematic by modern standards. Our goal is to handle these kinds of situations in a manner that does not directly or indirectly glorify these kinds of actions. While we understand that we are playing in a world of monsters, that does not mean we must be the monsters ourselves. Please also be aware, none of our cast are experts in history. That means there will be some deviations between the real world timeline and the vampiric world. You can go ahead and chalk that up to the Cainite influence on the mortals around them. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy our story. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to McStabber Studios' Vampire Dark Ages Glimpses of History. I am the storyteller, Shanky McStabber.
And I am Mama McStabber, and I will be playing Elena Thorndaughter of Clan La Sombra.
I am Zachary Naldra E. Him. I will be playing Miguel Tanner of the Gangrel.
I'm Jeannie Van Esch, and I'm playing Peregrine McSullivan, actual Assamite, pretending to be a Toreador.
Hello, I'm Maddox. I'll be playing Snatcher of Clan Nosferatu.
Hi everybody, I'm the Revenant Sarkhan. I'll be playing Agustin de la Cruz of Clan La Sombra.
Welcome to episode 6, everybody. When we last were with this coterie of Cainites, they had been starting to work on this fortress in Tehuta Pass. They had gotten the foundation started to be cleared. Azelios, the architect, had showed up and drawn up plans in return for a later favor. Plans that could incorporate some of what they wanted, but not everything they wanted due to the space limitations. And most importantly, they had a visit from a werewolf in the area. Apparently the local pack sent someone to speak with them, to call the villages on the Transylvanian side of the pass off limits for feeding, and to have them keep an eye out for some strange things, lights reflecting off in places where they shouldn't. But as we open up tonight, it's been about a month since we last peeked into them. A month that has been spent overseeing the fortress, making sure it's getting built. A month that some members have been trying to reach out and forge a bond with the peasantry of the area. A time where some are trying to gather up rats to be their their spies. And even Miguel finally got at least the birds to keep watch on things a bit. Took longer than expected, but he had time, more than enough time. But where we opened tonight, you're awaking from your day's sleep. And as you wake, step out into the main area of the fortress. Nikolai, one of your guards, he's waiting to give the status reports, as he has started to be. He's the new chief guard after you sent the other two away. He's waiting to give status reports to whoever wishes to take them tonight.
I'll take them.
My lord, the progress is going well. As you can see, we've got the foundations cleared enough and it's all set. We've started putting in the first layer. I do need to bring up one issue we've noticed. Seems we haven't had anyone coming through the pass in the last week. We've collected no levy for those crossing through. We don't know why. But it seems strange. We normally had at least one or two every week passing through to head to Bistras to sell whatever they needed to sell.
Could this be something to do with the weather, do you think, Nikolai?
It has not rained as much as I expected, to be fair. And even in the mountains, as long as we don't have big storms, it shouldn't impede too much progress. I don't think the weather was a factor. We're not sure what it is. We have tried to scout down a little bit, but since the guarding of the pass is the priority of our function here, we haven't been able to go far, not much more out of sight than where we could see it, to see if there's anything stopping us.
I appreciate you bringing this to my attention, Nikolai. I will see if Snatcher and Senor Miguel are available so that we can do what you can't.
Very well, thank you.
Of course.
And he steps off. It's the evening now, so he's stepping out to get some food in him so that he can get some sleep.
Yeah. I'll gather everybody together.
Okay. I would say anyone else who came out with Augustine probably heard at least bits of it.
So there is an issue that Nikolai has brought up to my attention. I would like to take Snatcher and Senor Miguel with me. Dama Elena, Senorita Peregrine, is this good for you, or?
That works.
Very well. We're only going to check if something is impeding travel. It seems that we have not gotten people coming through the last week, so he is concerned.
Yes, please check it out.
So you're going to gather. I'll let you gather Snatcher and Miguel and tell them what you feel to tell before we have you set off.
I'm going to go grab Snatcher first.
He is still the ugliest person in the fort at any given time, so he's easy to find.
Have you stopped using Obfuscate around us, or are you still...
Nope. Still hiding my face from all of you.
But as you're aware, and so the viewers are aware, Mask of a Thousand Faces, if you're Nosferatu, still does not make you look good looking. You're still ugly. You're just not hideously, monstrously ugly.
Yeah, the player got that part wrong because V5 is the dominant system in his brain.
Okay. I'm going to saddle up to Snatcher. What an interesting situation to find you in, not playing with rats.
They have a standing order to let me know if any more wolves arrive, and everything else they tell me is just extra.
They're just here on the property, yes? They're not spread out on the countryside, correct?
Not as far as I'm aware. I'm certain there are wild rats, but all the ones that I speak are the ones that stay close to where the food is.
Smart. You have a weapon about you? Do you have any armor? Nikolai has brought some concern to my attention, and I want to go check it out with you and Miguel.
I wouldn't say I'm much of a combatant, but I'll help if you feel I can.
Okay. I'll give you a knife. Remember, the pointy end goes in the other man. Okay?
Oh, yes, I know.
Good. Come on. And then I'll go with Snatcher and find Miguel.
And I know Miguel doesn't sleep with everybody else. He actually sinks into the ground each night or each day. So you find him as he emerges from the ground, not from the sleeping arrangements of everybody else.
Toss him a towel. Every night, you come out of the ground very dirty. Please prepare yourself for the night ahead. Are you busy, Miguel, tonight? Can I borrow you for some time?
What's going on?
I relay what Nikolai gave me. So I want to go down into the past and see if there's anything going on. Shouldn't be too difficult with the two of you strapping young lads.
Have we talked to the people from the villages from that side?
No, but it's something that we can do on the way.
All right.
Storyteller.
Yes.
Distance-wise, on both sides of the pass, like I'm counting both sides, how far from the actual location where the fort's going to be, and then walking down the path to get to the first village on each side, are they close, or do you have to do a little bit of a walk to get there?
The nearest village on each side is about 1 kilometer. Now, the villages are not that far from each other. So I would put most of them, like the 3 on the Kievan Roost side, they're also within 1 kilometer of each other. They've almost grouped themselves up clearly for protection reasons, where each village is close enough that they can help, just not so close that they mess up each other's farmable land.
Come on, we'll grab some horses and we'll ride down. We'll see if there's anything on the streets, on the paths, and then go into the actual villages and see if there's any situation that needs to be struck down.
Now, I'm going to assume, based on previous conversations, as you all set out, Miguel, you're using heightened senses.
Yes, he is.
Of course. And as you're setting down, we're going to flash back to Elena and Peregrine. And so if you two need to have a discussion about anything, you can, or we can keep going with the trip down the pass.
How are things going with the villagers?
It's difficult. They are taking their time, but they're not getting warmed up at all. I didn't expect it. Have to give it a shot at least. I've learned a little bit, but not much, and they've at least helped me get the right flowers and stuff I need for ink and such. I'm thinking sending some stuff over to Rogu and Mr. Vikos. And maybe sprucing up a bit more art, try and get them on our favor, repaying a little bit of the debt. What do you think?
You can try.
It's all I can do. Any suggestions on anything else?
Sending Radu money. That's what he wants. But we
Hard to
must
do that.
get people through here to get money.
If they're going the one way, should we actually look up the other way too, just in case?
I'm pretty sure this other side is okay, considering there are certain watchers on this other side. But there are
Do you-
none that we know of
Neither.
on the Rus side.
What do you need me to do while we're waiting for them?
Work on what you plan on sending. I'm working on educating Sharazina.
If you need help, we were both one once.
We were, but I need to teach her how to lead without being a brutal tyrant. There's a time for brutality, but it is not every time.
Yeah. Wish you luck on that.
Thank you.
It's not hard to find Sharazina. You'll know you've begun to notice that every time you wake from your day's sleep, she is within sight of where you sleep.
Well, she is fully bound now.
Right. But she stays making sure she's visible if she's needed.
Mm-hmm.
She is also, her long hair has been, she seems to take special care to fully brush it. She's not able to wear Noble's Guard because, well, you don't have extra Noble's Guard for her. But it is clear she has begun to shake off whatever real funk had happened after her capture. As she is taking much better care of her personal appearance.
Mm-hmm.
My lady?
How are things?
Things are going decently. I've gone over our stocks, gone over the money we have. I'm not sure we have enough Liberum to finish paying the workers by the time it'll take to finish this fortress.
Understood.
We haven't been able to levy much money off of many of them coming because most of the merchants coming spent their money, only brought trade goods in hopes of trading it for replacement money so that they can come back through, of course, and then start to cycle over again. Though I do suspect as we get closer to winter, we will get more Liberum as the merchants are departing Bistras with heavy purses. Hopefully we can get enough.
It is my hope as well, because I know construction will also slow during winter.
The lack of the blacksmith has also cost us a heavy price in Liberum. We've had to barter to repair tools whenever one of the caravans coming through happened to have somebody skilled enough to repair what we have. I still say that we just tell the workers that they won't be paid. But you've explained quite clearly enough that that's not the best way to get the workers to enthusiastically do what we wish.
Exactly. There are issues down the pass. The gentlemen are looking into it.
Yes, I'm aware. I'm the one who pointed out to Nikolai that we haven't been able to collect levy this week from anyone passing through.
So, hopefully they are able to resolve whatever the holdup is.
Now, we do have a good stock of pelts. We have a stock of trade goods, crafts. You can have some very nice blown glass. The merchant was not happy to part with those, but food stocks we're good on.
Good.
It's just Liberum.
That is a problem that can be solved. one way or another. But thank you for bringing everything to my attention.
And I'll present the counts to Peregrine.
Excellent. Excellent. Good. But yes, you do not wish to tell your people they will not get paid, just as you don't wish to tell your people they will not get fed. You do not mess with your people's security and acquiring their needs.
As you say.
Good ruler ensures that even the least of theirs have their needs met.
I will admit I have very little until now experience dealing directly with the peasantry. That was handled by intermediaries.
I prefer to be hands-on.
I've seen that.
It's the only way to ensure things get done.
And it seems to be working. The fortress is going up. I'm not an expert in how long it should take, but it seems to be going up at a decent speed.
It is. But yes, I agree that there's a problem with not having a blacksmith. I will speak with Mr. De La Cruz to see if we can remedy this. He was, from my understanding, son of a blacksmith.
We'll still run into the problem of lacking some of the materials. We don't have any pig iron or any other iron we can use to work with, but repairs at least.
Exactly.
Worn out tools.
Can be melted down and reused.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Another thing I never had a direct hand in. The biggest problem with running a forge up here will be something to fire the forge hot enough to melt the metal. We've had to rely on what the caravans had on hand, which is why they're probably charging such high rates.
Yes. There is much lumber available here. It can be made into coals that can be used to heat the forge.
We'll have to look at the available workmen to see how that impacts the fortress.
Of course. But it is an option, but first let's figure out how we're going to get the forge first.
We can always levy the next time a caravan comes through one of their anvils. Or
Of course.
I should say their anvil.
Of course. That would be smart. And perhaps excess stone from the cuttings could be used to build the forge.
Oh, we have lots of excess stone.
Of course. See, put minds together, solutions come.
Yes, milady.
You are doing well, Sherazina.
Like all in my family, I live to serve.
Eventually, you might be qualified to rule. And Elena turns and walks.
As you walk off, we're going to flash back. So you know, Peregrine, Sherazina did bring you the counts of everything they've had, everything in the stores, counting the food and everything, so that you have accurate numbers for your books. We're going to flash to the other three as you've set down the mountainside. Please give me your perception alertness. Difficulty 6. I just need to know a general idea of how you're doing on this, trip down. I'll use it for keeping track.
Does my eyes in the back of my head specialty count on perception for this?
Sure.
Cool.
4 for Miguel. Good. Augustine, I see, has 3.
One more time on that difficulty, sorry.
6.
All right, then that comes to 2 successes.
2 successes. So 4 and a 3 and a 2. And then, of course, the one with a 4 also has heightened senses on. As you move down the pass, you reach the spot where the pass has an opening that leads down into the valley where the villages are. And from where you're standing here, the way the mountain cuts, you can actually see across the valley, much lower, but still the winding path this takes. There seems to be, for Miguel, who can see it through heightened senses, there's some light on the far side of the valley, up high on the mountain, so it's still definitely on the path down the pass as it wraps around. Your guess, by the amount of light you can see and knowing the distances, it'd have to be more than one campfire or one very big campfire set up on the pass. The other two cannot see it because it's too far away. Heightened senses are the key.
Miguel is going to post a point and there's a fire over there, not from one of the villages.
Over there, are you sure?
It's there.
Okay.
If it's not multiple camps fires, it's one rather sizable one.
Will we meet them on the path, or are they a little ways off?
They appear to be directly on the path. Almost. Your guess, Miguel, would be they are literally camping right on the mountain pass, or on the path through the mountain.
Okay. We have time to go and investigate and still return before the dawn. So
You are the one that spotted it, Miguel. We are following your lead then.
and Miguel will take the lead.
Okay, so you're going to ride down the mountain pass through, or the mountain trail, I should say. I need to know, how close are you going to get? How close are you willing to get from horseback? Are you going to leave the horses at some point and go in on foot? So you're aware, horses can be heard in this mountain area a lot further than normal because their hooves will echo off the sides of the mountainside.
So it would be reasonable to assume how far out a camp of this size as we get close and the others can see it. It'd be reasonable to assume what a normal guard situation would be like and how far out they have people.
Well, with heightened senses, you can definitely get closer than they have any hope of seeing you, because you'll be able to identify people if they're moving around the campfire long before it's close enough that anybody, especially in a campfire area with any kind of spoiled night sight, could see the fact that you're there. But you have moved down. I will say you've moved down enough that they can, at least Augustine and Snatcher can see the light up ahead. They see the campfire light. You've gotten a bit closer, Miguel. There seems to be one big campfire, and you're pretty sure you see 2 or 3 others.
We'll get close enough to not make it a so that we're not going to give ourselves away with the horses approach.
I'll assume you err on the side of caution just to make sure, just in case. Assume a bit of competence here. As you get to the limit of where you're pretty sure the horses can be heard, Miguel, you notice it's clear there are a few wagons, 5 or 6 wagons lined up. It's a bit of a wide open area. Remember I said there appears to be slightly enlarged sections that people use as camp areas? There's a few wagons there, 5 or 6 of them. You can see stuff is loaded on them. And there's also, you can just make out the horses. They've got a team, 24 horses, a dozen people wandering around, maybe a few more that you can't see because it's hard to see the wagons, and then the fire, of course, stuff on the far side of the fire would be hard to see. But from this distance with heightened senses, I will say you can make out there's definitely a dozen guards. You can see the silhouette of their swords as they're walking around.
Would you like me to go ahead of us and investigate?
We certainly do have talents for sneaking that are superior to mine.
Superior is debatable, and I'll get off my horse and rouse for hiding my bullshit.
Okay. So you're going to go into your obfuscate to hide yourself from prying eyes.
What level is hiding my bullshit?
2nd dot.
Okay, cool.
So
it's every dot. It's just how well
yeah, it really is every dot of this discipline.
So you proceed to set off ahead. I am going to make you roll, though. Snatcher, give me dexterity stealth, please. Difficulty 6. You are very good at it, thankfully.
I don't know if my stealth specialty actually works here. Crowds? I'm walking to a crowd, not in a crowd.
No. Your stealth specialty is for you disappearing in a crowd to being unfindable once you get into a crowd.
Yeah, that's sort of what I guessed. All right, 8 dice, don't fail me now.
Good try, though.
Are you also using Silence of Death on your bullshit, or just...
Honestly, that's a pretty smart idea. Yeah, I will be doing that.
Then his only hope is he doesn't somehow knock a bunch of shit off the edge of the trail. I'm not worried. He's got 8 dice for this, so he should be pretty good.
I mean, he's been dealing with rats, not with cats, so I have faith in him.
I don't like how close it got with all these 1s, but 3 successes.
And as you approach closer and closer, how close are you willing to get? Earshot of them so you can hear what's being talked about?
Edge of the campfire light.
You know mortals don't see you anyway.
And not in a direct path or anything, like where I'm standing where no one would just obviously start walking.
But not close enough to spook the horses.
That.
As you get closer to it, you begin to make out conversations. And there seems to be a number of the guards bragging about the last caravan that came through and how they took a bunch of their stuff. And they're telling great stories about the screams of the merchant about being upset as they took a bunch of their goods and sent them back down the pass. Joking about how this pass is now closed is quite profitable for a closed pass.
Back down the pass, like back towards Bistra's?
No, because this is on the Kievan Roos side.
Oh, God, right. What fuckwads? I'm gonna start looking around their campsite for these goods they supposedly took.
The wagons, they seem to be loaded. Not fully. The wagons, some of them have, food seems to be stored on multiple wagons. One of the wagons is well stocked. But judging by you looking around, and since you can lurk in the dark, you have a feeling that there were more wagons. You even finally catch one of the guards mentioning, we'll have to, after the next ones come through, we'll have to send the wagon down to offload.
The two guards that I'm currently listening to, are they close-ish to the fire, or
No,
are
they're standing actually keeping watch up the pass towards Bistriz, towards your fort. Not that it matters.
Do they have any obvious spots where they would carry financial assistance?
None that you, I'm sure they have a coin pouch somewhere on them.
Yeah, pickpocketing guards when they're actually on duty is annoying.
And it breaks obfuscate.
And it breaks obfuscate. I'm gonna do a quick circle around to like the other campfires, see if it's similar conversations.
You come to a total of 15 guards. They also seem to have three other people there supporting the camp. Your guess is, well, you can tell by one of them's cooking. So your guess is that is the rest of their support staff to cook food.
Does it seem like they have a blacksmith?
No, they don't.
Damn it.
But it seems odd. Bandits normally don't bring extra support. A bandit group is, well, everyone's expected to be the bandit.
And this is going to be a little odd for me as a player to ask, but I'm not sure how else to ask it. Do they look like they're local, foreign? Do they have any sort of obvious heritage I can tell?
Give me...
Well, what language are they speaking?
Ooh, that's a good one, too.
They're speaking the lingua franca of the area, which is German, a German derivative. It's not actually German. But if you want to try to identify possibly where they're from, let's go with perception. I'm trying to think of what to put with it. Perception investigation.
All right, I can bounce with that. Diff.
Oh, I always go with 6 unless I tell you otherwise. I try not to use the higher diffs unless we have to, because...
Beautiful. That's 4 successes on 5 dice.
A number of them you suspect definitely appear Kievan Rus between their outfits and their the accents. But you have caught what you suspect are 3 of them are Transylvanian in nature.
Is there any way for me to tell if they're like from our area that we're in right now, Transylvania, or other parts of Transylvania?
No, it's a bit hard. Something about some of the words they're pronouncing. You can hear the Romanian influences on it.
I'm also, just for my own personal sake, going to mark all the like wagons that are full of like actual like stolen merchandise and all that stuff.
There's only one full of obvious stolen merchandise. The other ones have a lot of foodstuffs.
All right. And then I'll start making my way back to Augustine and Miguel.
Okay. Augustine and Miguel, as you're standing there, going off of the earlier roll, the hairs on the back of your neck, Miguel, are standing up. You are being watched by something somewhere. You don't know where, but you are being watched.
So, Augustine, this is, from my understanding, more the type of thing that you specialize in. So if it turns out that this camp is inhibiting our cash flow, is it better to give them an option to work for us, or just to wipe them all out?
From what I have learned of Dama Elena's people, you want to show strength, but you also want to be lenient. I would say if these people are stealing from us, and by extension, Count Ragu, that we make a lesson of a few of them, but we bring some back so that Dama Elena can question them since she knows their language. It might be a miscommunication, and they just need to learn who is in charge and why we are put in charge.
During this time, Miguel is still kind of looking around and watching the hills above, assuming that that's where he's being watched from.
Definitely being watched by something higher in the mountain. Definitely.
If I clock him looking around, I'm going to pull on the shadows around us to make us more difficult to spot in the forest. I want us to blend more into the darkness, the natural darkness of the spot that we've chosen.
There's very little force, but there is a lot of shadow cast, of course, by the rock walls to the side. So it's very easy to find a spot to draw the shadows deeper to make you a little harder to see, especially from a distance.
I assume it's one of the wolves that are watching us. I would just like to know where it is.
We are not in the Transylvanian side, so we are safe from any miscommunication with them on that part.
Doesn't mean that they don't follow us on this side.
This is true.
They seem the type to like to keep watch.
I too would want to know the capabilities of the people that I am watching, so it makes sense.
What if this is a test?
A lupine test.
If we're being watched,
Mhm.
then why wouldn't, I mean, if you were watching someone, would you create a situation to see how they react?
If I had the resources for it, yes, handedly. If these people are stealing from us, Miguel, this is not a test anymore.
That is I suppose. It's not your returned yet.
Have you returned yet? Because they wouldn't know you're there until you said hi.
I would probably just have been waiting for a break in the conversation.
Right. Miguel will, when they pause, they'll kind of look towards the camp.
This is an interesting camp we've come across. In most cases, I would examine them and say, don't mistake silver for gold. But in this case, there's a trove of stolen goods on one of their wagons. And personally, if the goods on the wagons are stolen, well, how can we truly know about all that money that they probably don't need?
You are a shrewd business fellow, my friend. You have a good eye for business.
In the business in which I practiced, I like to think I'm fairly decent.
And point out the one that has the goods, and I would make sure that it does not go anywhere.
I indicate it to you as soon as you ask. They were openly discussing their lovely evenings of harassing merchants and sending them back into Kiev with less goods and I'm assuming less funds.
Gentlemen, I know that we are not all here, but I think that this is the kind of situation that would require majority rule. Since there's 3 of us here, do we think that this warrants then retribution? Because I know how I am thinking, and I would be remiss if I did not take in the input of the other people in the current situation with me.
Their behavior has to stop.
That's 1-1 for yes. Snatcher?
I find thieves to be rather diabolical. So, yeah, we should get rid of them.
Unanimous, then. Let us deal with these ruffians, then, and show them a lesson. Save some for Dama Elena, please. I would like her to question them.
I'm going to hide myself again, storyteller.
Okay.
And then start making my way back.
Okay.
And I whisper to them as I go, I'll start a distraction.
So you head down. Miguel and Augustine, you are going as well, right?
Augustine, do you want to use your powers of shadow to cloak yourself?
I don't think it is going to be necessary. If they see me, they see me. And if I am to become the distraction at that point, then I trust the 2 of you are better at using the natural surroundings and the darkness better than I. I have other plans for my shadows, my friend.
I'm curious if I were to lay out some of my, and he's going to go into his pack and kind of pull out some of his leathers. If I were to pass through here as a trader, would they also attempt to rob me, or were they just robbing from?
Do you wish to have a bodyguard on this excursion of yours to find trade, or is this something that you would have dared the road on your own?
If you feel comfortable acting as a bodyguard, then that is fine. And if you feel comfortable using the shadows and catching them in surprise, that is fair as well. I'll leave that decision to you.
Very well. Let's see how they react to you by yourself then. And I will try to use shadow play as I move to kind of grant me some extra. Yeah.
Additional stealth.
Yeah, to get my way over there. The first thing I want to do is lock down that goods wagon with my tentacles.
Okay. Now, those require, of course, concentration. Let's get everyone's plan. Snatcher, you're going to attempt a distraction.
Specifically, I'm going to speak to the horses and tell them, hey, run to that fort.
Okay, that's going to be, let's get that
So it
rolled
looks
now.
like the horses are panicked, but I have animalism. Why panic when I can just request?
While you're doing, let's get a roll for that. And then while you're doing that, we'll have, we'll find out what Miguel is planning to do. Give me a manipulation animal kin.
Certainly.
The difficulty on this one, it says basically 6, but you're going to use animal sounds, which works. It's not a dangerous or deadly command. They're not a predatory animal, though. So difficulty is still 6, but using animal sounds puts it at 5.
Excellent. Then that means 5 successes because I didn't roll under a 5.
Okay. Miguel, what is your plan? As Augustine, you can see the moving patch of shadows of Augustine as he's pulling the shadows closer to him.
I am going to approach calmly, walking slowly on my horse with the horse's packs kind of rearranging the leather so it looks like it's overflowing with leather goods. And just, see what they do when he approaches. I'm sure you don't mind if I go ahead and do a little bit of search action before.
Go ahead. You know where you're walking. It's not like, you have to do it ahead of time.
All right.
And
So
please
it's deck
remind me,
search.
can we surge past 5 dots?
Oh, yes,
in
you
this?
can surge
Okay.
up to your limit. If you surge past your limit, it lasts for 3 turns. You can actually surge all the way up to 10 dice.
Jeez.
Mm-hmm. But it fades quicker.
How is it that feels more broken than when we played Demon?
I've searched dexterity and I have searched strength.
Okay.
And I did get a little bit hungrier.
But it's okay. Your beast is enjoying the thought of fresh meat, fresh blood. I'm sure it doesn't mind. And as you get closer,
And I figure since it's dark, I'm going to go ahead and have my claws out just ready.
okay, they wouldn't notice that in the dark. As you get
Especially
close,
not holding the reins of the horse.
they find you can tell when they hear the horse coming down the pass because all the guards get up. A couple of them had to be kicked up. They apparently dozed by the fire. And you can see them with your heightened senses as they're gathering on the side you're coming down, weapons at the ready. And since you have heightened senses, you even hear the jokes they're making about, fresh meat. Someone's going to take a trip off the mountain tonight. Augustine, you're moving in position. You can lock the wagon down if you want. There's nothing hooked to it. It's not going anywhere. If that's what you're going to do with that. Snatcher, you are convincing the horses, which will be bolting shortly.
Are we? They probably still can't get a good view of me, but I didn't have a. Yeah. What would you say? Let me know when we're about 60 yards.
You are the funny thing is, the guards are obviously afraid to step out of the campfire light, so they're spoiling their own night vision. So you can easily get to the 60 yards without them getting a clear view of you.
At my range, I will have my horse stop. Give Augustine some time to watch for Augustine, make sure he's able to get in position without being seen or noticed, and have my bow drawn.
Okay. As your bow's drawn, you suddenly see the horses that are on the far, they're kind of in the middle, but they're the far side from where you are, farther away from you. You see them suddenly turn and start bolting towards you. Well, bolting in a direction that's going to cause them to run through the men with swords, and then to you.
I'm going to let them run through the men with swords.
The first warning that these guards have that bad shit is coming is when they hear the horse hooves behind them. And when they turn, they're kind of shocked to see 24 horses. That's a lot of horses. Charge through their ranks. It is now, they're in a tumble of people on the ground. 5, 6 horses, some of them might have stayed on their feet. 24, there's a small problem for them. A number of them have been knocked down, trampled, stomped on.
And Snatcher's pride grew 3 sizes that night.
Yep. The first one who stands up is getting shot.
Okay, give me a Dex athletic. Oh no, Dex archery.
Archery.
It's Dex archery. Death archery for them.
Death archery.
Death archery.
Death archery. It's an accurate description this time.
Yep.
So since I've had my bow drawn and ready, does this count as aim?
Yes.
And if I remember correctly, aim reduces the difficulty.
Yes, let's put your difficulty at 4 for this shot.
Okay. Then that is 4 successes.
Your arrow cuts out the moment one starts to stand. He's not moving too well. He's just been trampled by a horse. You're pretty sure by the way he's holding his arm is broken. When the arrow strikes him center of the chest, and he just topples right back over, back to the ground. Many of the others, they're still rolling on the ground. You can tell a few of them by the direction their legs are pointing have broken legs, broken arms. Some of them are not moving. You're not sure any of them are what you would call a combat effective at this point. 24 horses, that's a lot of pain, people.
Yeah, it is. Are any of them looking like they're going to try to run?
Run? A few seem to be trying to drag themselves away. Does that count?
Are they dragging themselves away from whatever they thought scared the horses? Or are they dragging themselves to whatever they thought scared the horses?
Some of them looked like they were dragging themselves towards you at first until the arrow came out of the darkness. And then they have decided to try to drag themselves the opposite way. Augustine, I'm not going to make you roll to lock a wagon down with arms of airmen because
all I need is one.
Yeah.
All I need is one to just kind of come down from its own shadow out around one wheel, wrap itself around the other wheel on the opposite side, and then tie itself into a knot.
Yeah.
That was the only thing that I wanted to do.
Don't need you to
it.
roll for that one. A few of the guards you see are actually crawling themselves towards the edge. They might be willing to take their chances of going down the side of the mountain rather than forward or backwards.
Where's the guy who was like the barking orders leader of all this?
He's the one who got an arrow in his chest.
Oh, shit. Then my work is done. I was only going to go after him. I guess if I see any stragglers come by, I'll try and like grab them or something.
You could identify me. He was at the front of the group, so he had more time to react to get out of the way of the horses. He still got hurt pretty bad, but not as bad as some of the others. That's why he managed to break into, try to stand. Didn't do him any good, though.
Of their original 24, how many are still fully functioning humans?
None of them you would call fully functioning. They were bunched up. It's a narrow section because you have an open area where they're camped, but that immediately narrows right back down, and they were blocking the narrow part that the horses ran through. You would guess not a one of them are combat effective at this point. They don't have a broken leg, which means they can stand. They have broken arms, broken ribs, and a number of them.
Did the cook survive?
But the cook didn't even move forward. The cook's still at the fire. They didn't They're not combatants.
Yeah.
They're kind of
That's the
looking
smartest
shocked.
person
They
at the
don't know what
camp.
to do. One of them, you think, is about to bolt down the pass?
That's fine. They do what they want. I'm worried about the bandits.
But of the dozen
whoever's
guards,
armed has priority.
there's actually 15 guards. Half of them, you're pretty sure are dead.
That's what 24 horses will do.
And these were
Jesus.
these weren't war horses, but these were cart horses. Very heavy, very stout.
Miguel is going to ride forward towards the camp and just let it be known. If you run, if you try to get away, you will just die tired.
That does set one of the cooks bolting down the pass.
How far away is this cook?
I mean, he's definitely within 60 yards.
I'm going to kneecap him.
Okay. That's a called shot. But you have a lot of dice at the moment.
I roused
I'm gonna-
for.
For fun of it, I'm going to search for an extra 2 dice on that.
Okay. That puts you all the way up to 8, doesn't it?
It does, yes.
For 3 turns, you have 8 dice of dexterity.
I rouse for strength and dex, and I'm just going to come out of the shadows and stab whoever has a weapon in hand.
Okay.
Just kill shot.
That is 5.
5? I'll say that's enough for the arrow to hit him in the back of the leg as he's running. Right about where the knee is. They just tumble right down screaming. Augustine, as you approach with your blade, there is a few on the ground that seem to be feebly attempting to use their weapon from the ground. It doesn't work very well for him. Anytime one raises a weapon to you, you dissuade them.
Oh, I'll kick it straight out of their hands with potence.
Yeah, you dissuade them of that. Looking over them, a number of them. You don't have a doctor handy, unfortunately, or anyone that practices medicine, even in this time. A number of them will not survive these wounds. The frothing at their mouth says they've got punctured lungs. A few of them will. The lucky ones. And you have 2 cooks. And one with an arrow in his knee. A third one has an arrow in his back of his leg.
Miguel is going to ride down to the end of camp, past, right through camp, to make sure that all are accounted for, and look down to past camp to make sure nobody got off.
No one, you don't see anyone down there, even with your heightened senses. The fire's at your back. You've got heightened senses. You can still move enough so it doesn't spoil your night sight. You don't see any that got away. Though there is a shape high in the air that was circling as now set off due south. Bistriz is more west, by the way, so you're aware, in case you're forgetting. It's high enough up you don't think you can shoot it with an arrow for sure.
Shape.
Bird of some kind. By the wings. You can't judge how high it's flying. Could be anything, depending on the height. But you're pretty sure it was a large bird of some kind.
Vultures to sometimes follow and pick off. He's going to dismount and start walking through camp.
It's clear they've been here about a week. You could even see the marks where wagons have been turning around and heading back down the mountain pass.
What's the currency called again?
Liberum?
Liberum.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The leader man thing.
The one who has a large arrow sprouting out of his chest, yes.
Yes. Is he dead?
He's not moved since the arrow hit him.
Anyone who is alive who was talking to him.
Let me roll to see.
I just need one of the people who was
the one
telling
he was
people what
talking
to do.
that you heard at the edge of camp. He is got two broken. Well, broken is a bit generous. Two shattered legs.
Don't stand in the way of horses. Actually, this is a fucked up question to ask, but how's his hair?
Wait, what? I mean,
Long,
his hair is
short.
For this era, for when they are longer.
Cool. I'm gonna
Shoulder length?
I'm gonna do two things. First, rouse for some strength.
Okay.
I get hungrier.
Don't worry, you've got several that are unconscious and dying,
Yep.
but are still alive for feeding purposes.
Oh yeah, but I'll do that in a second. First, I'm gonna grab this guy by the hair and drag him towards the cook who Miguel kneecapped.
Okay. He screams the whole way. He's in a lot of pain. Shattered legs are not pleasant when you drag them.
And I'm gonna actually kneel down next to the cook, and I guess first check if he's even in a position to talk or if he's still in shock from being shot with an arrow.
The cook is trying in vain to stop the bleeding, but the arrow's still in him. The barbed head went through, came out the other side.
Would you like help with that?
He looks at you, looks at his leg. I was just here to feed him.
I understand. That's why I'm helping you. You aren't a bandit.
If you can get the arrow out, we can wrap it. You can see the guy's probably tried to break the arrow, but he's not that strong, apparently. He hasn't been able to snap the arrow to pull it through.
Is there a stick around?
They've had some firewood piled up.
Cool. I'll just grab a twig from that bite.
He bites down on it.
And then I rip out the arrow. That's why I had him bite, so he didn't scream.
That tore a giant hole in his leg, pulling the arrow back out.
No, now he's going to die.
Now he's really bleeding.
And I'm going to lean back a bit and drop my obfuscate.
Now he starts screaming. He starts screaming vampire and dragging himself towards the ledge.
And I'll grab him by his shirt and pull him back.
More screaming because
Snatcher is, you can tell he's conflicted because he's just clearly not having a good time at this moment. He looks up to the sky, thinks for a second, looks back down, and it's by this point that he's fully showing his black and green, sickly tinted scales, burning yellow eyes, rows of sharp lizard-like teeth, and a dark forked tongue.
The other two cooks you can see out of the corner of your eye, they have huddled down near the fire. If they got any closer to the fire, they would be on fire in terror. This guy, his eyes are wide. He's staring at you as he's trying to crawl. As you drug him back, he starts trying to crawl again. Just, you still got his leg, I assume, so he's not getting anywhere. He's trying, though.
For the absolute love of, and I'm going to try and, I know I rouse for strength, so I'm going to be a bit tougher. So I'm going to try and knock him the fuck out.
I mean, you give me, I have to have you roll it for a reason. Give me your strength brawl.
Here, specifically.
Because I'm trying to see if you knock him out or manage to cave his skull in.
I know. I'm specifically going to try open hand, so there's less chance that I cave in his skull.
I have to roll it in this case because...
Yeah.
Because if you miss the jaw and hit the temple, it's just going to collapse the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm going to totally fuck him, and that's going to be bad for me.
Strength plus brawl.
Clean deaths
Surge
are better than
strength plus brawl, please.
And Surge gives me 2, correct?
Yep.
You got potence?
Okay. I do not. Not a single dot of it. Thank the Lord.
So he might survive.
Brawl. Oh, I have no brawl. Excellent.
Do you think that makes it better or worse? You're unskilled and trying to knock him out.
No, actually, Augustine handed me a knife. Any chance I could?
You're gonna hit him with the butt of the knife?
So I can use melee instead
Go
of
ahead.
brawl? Because then I have a dot in.
Go ahead. I'll let you hit him with the butt of the
You
knife.
are making all the good choices tonight.
Your fellow players should give you should tell you exactly what they think of this one.
He's fine. While he's doing this, I'm going to see whoever of the bandits that are still alive, that are trying to, that can walk. I'm going to break their hands, and then tie them up, and drag them back at the end of the cart, towards the pass.
Now, you have one problem with the carts. All you have is your 3 horses you rode down. The rest of them are heading up the trail. But you can, the ones you assume based on the way their legs are pointing can walk, they're all in pretty bad shock at the moment. So it's pretty easy for you to pull them up, break their hands. They're in shock. Tie them up, hook them behind the cart. The hard part's going to be getting the cart back up there.
Worst case scenario, we'll tie our 3 horses to the lead cart, tie that cart to them, and tie them to the rear cart so that they have to pull the rear cart.
And Snatcher, you hit him in the temple. He goes out like a light. 4 successes. You hit what you were aiming at. I'll give you that.
And then I feed him my blood. Quickest way to fix a leg wound that bad? Be a ghoul.
Okay.
The other dude can
Go ahead
suffer
and give
with
me a
his
rouse
crushed
check
legs.
on that. Rouse it up. For those that aren't aware, we are using a modified version of E5's rouse checks because we want the risk management.
I pass.
Okay. You give him some blood.
I'm still at my cozy 3 hunger.
He'll be able to use the blood to heal himself.
Yes, intended.
What are you doing with the other 2 chefs? They're uninjured.
They're just uninjured? I fucking leave them. They're chefs. They can do whatever the fuck they want. Go for it. But dude, I just ghouled. I'm gonna fling over my shoulder, and I'm gonna keep dragging the other dude back towards the fort.
It takes him. I mean, it's not like he's going to heal instantly. He still screams a bit. I mean, you're a scaled monster throwing him over your shoulder.
Even unconscious?
He groans a lot. He'll wake up soon. Trust me.
Yeah, I figured.
He'll scream in a bit. You're right. He's unconscious. He can't scream right then. He's groaning though. Miguel, what are you doing?
So Miguel is going to go through camp and give give relief to those who are not going to survive by feeding off them and then throwing them over the edge until he's out of hunger or until he's fully sated.
That's easy.
Yep. Same.
And then to the 2 cooks that are still haven't taken off yet. Gentlemen, it appears that out of the rest of your band of merry men here, that the 2 of you seem to be in the closest to normal mental state to be able to have a conversation. Is that?
They're still terrified by Snatcher, but they kind of nod their heads. Any question you ask, they're kind of nodding their heads.
Okay. So you want to tell me about this little operation here?
We, Master Vampire, we were hired to cook, keep them fed.
They hired you?
Yes?
Where did they hire you?
Village at the base of the pass.
So,
Paid Libram. I left it with my wife.
what can you tell me about the attacks they made on merchants crossing the pass?
I was told we'd be here a month. We were closing the pass, extracting levy. I didn't know what I was getting into till they come up here, and if they argued about the levy, they would kill a few of them, throw the bodies over the edge, take more of their stuff, and send them back down. I asked them why we were doing it. They said that was the job.
After going through, right, Miguel is resourceful enough that he wouldn't have tossed bodies over the edge with functional weapons and
I'm sure you'd leave the weapons.
and any goods or coin that they may have on them.
I'm sure you wouldn't have thrown money pouches and stuff. You'd have searched it before you chucked them over the edge. I'll give you, I don't see you throwing good shit over with you.
All right, well, I'm going to. Are both of these men answering or just one?
Only one. The other one, he hasn't said a word.
I'm going to take the heaviest money bag that I have. I'm going to hand it to the one who is talking.
That would be the guy you put an arrow in.
The
guy you put the arrow in had the heaviest bag.
Oh, okay. I don't care who had the heaviest bag of coin. Just the heaviest bag of coin that I took. I'm going to give it to the one who's giving me answers.
Okay. The guy next to him looks at him and just smiles and nods his head, and that's it.
Are you capable of making it back to your village on your own?
We should. Me and my brother here, we've been here our whole lives. We know this area. We can get down the pass.
Tell me about your village.
It's not a very big one. We do have an inn. Just put it in 3 summers ago. Does
Sure,
good
it's
business.
nice.
People going up the pass, the merchants like to stop on the way.
What other features does your village have?
Oh, we're growing. We've just last month we got a blacksmith set up in the town. We've got some shepherds. Of course, still some farmers. But with the inn, I got a leather worker, blacksmith. We're hoping for a stonemason.
Well, I have a chance to go back and see your wife. Your work here is obviously done.
Yes, Lord, I see that now. We would have never taken the job if we knew what they were planning to do. I just needed to feed people. It was a rough winter. Food stocks were low. The money they paid me, make sure my family ate.
How far a ride is your village from here?
A ride? Yeah, with a good horse, can make it in a day and a half.
I will be sending someone to follow up and to ensure that this happens. You are to return to your village. You are to make amends to any of the merchants that may have found their way back there after the incident that they incurred at this camp.
Bless you, Lord, bless you. My family blesses you. My brother blesses you. He can't talk, but he blesses you. And the guy next to him's nodding his head just as enthusiastically.
In a few days' time, a messenger will arrive to discuss, not have a conversation with your blacksmith.
As you say, Lord?
You may go.
And the two of them get up. They don't even say another thing. They get up immediately. They want nothing to be in this place.
Oh, before you go.
That causes them to stop and kind of cower a bit.
Excellent. Warn the rest of the villagers and whoever you deal with that this pass is protected. That banditry will not be taken lightly. You've seen what we can do.
Yes, Lord. If we'd known, we wouldn't be here, Lord. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I would like to trust you. Yes, of course. Go.
And they immediately take off down there. I assume you're going to gather up the living to load them in one of the ones who can't walk. Or are you going to kill them? Load them in wagons?
The ones who can't walk are being fed on and tossed.
Okay.
Like old PBR bottles, cans.
So of the 15 guards, I will say that you're bringing back 4. The rest, not going to make it. You're not sure on the 4. You think one of them won't make it a fortnight before he's dead.
Yeah, he's going to survive enough to talk. That's all that matters.
I mean, to be fair, how many of them are going to make it in fortnight, regardless of their condition?
They weren't.
Well, they'll make it to a fort tonight.
Tonight.
So as you're working on getting the wagons back up, I am going to flash before we go to break back to Peregrine and Elena. You all are managing the camp when you hear commotion at the gate on the Kievan roof side. One of the guards opens the gate, and 24 horses come bolting into the place.
I just told them to run to the fort. What they do when they get there is up to them. They're horses.
Do they start to settle once they're in?
Once they're in the fort, they seem to meander around in kind of a circle, unsure what to do next.
Elena walks up to the horses. She imagines some of the guards are with the horses.
They are, I mean, it's been 2.5, maybe at this point, about 3 hours since Miguel, Peregrine, Miguel, Snatcher, and Augustine left. They are lathered up. They've apparently run most of the way up the mountain.
She strokes the head of one of them.
And unlike many kindred, you don't offend animals. You don't
Mm-mm.
bother them at all. They snort. One nuzzles his head into you.
Mm-hmm.
One sniffs around you like he's looking to see if you've got something for him to eat. It's a bit of a run.
Make sure these are fed, watered, and have comfortable bedding for the night.
And Matthias, your personal guard who was nearby. Yes, milady, I'll make sure of it.
Thank you. And she walks away.
He leads them over to the rest of your horses, which you didn't have nearly as many. You actually came up the mountain. You had about 8 or 9, 8, we'll say. So you've added 3 times that to your horse allotment.
They can be traded.
Peregrine, what's your reaction to all this?
She swears a lot of Irish. Because it scared the fuck out of her. It kind of startles for a moment and just sees all this, watches Elena do the Elena thing, and then just kind of like starts to add into the allotment of things, and just keeps going on in Irish because she doesn't know what to make out of any of this.
And then Elena walks up to her and says, obviously the gentleman sent the horses from whatever was blocking the pass to us.
And you see Sarazina approaching. Mistresses.
Yes.
We don't have good grazing lands. This many horses are going to put a dent on our food stocks. I would suggest we either use them to send something to Count Radu or trade them as soon as possible to the next group coming through the pass.
That is exactly what I was about to say. They can be traded.
I know my way around horses.
If this many are on the Forkin Trail, then we're going to have to put more guards up and down this place.
Agreed.
I'll start doing it if I need to, but what the fuck?
But I am sure some of the local villages need horses.
Aye, and if we ever get this,
And these are sturdy ones. They'll be good for carts and plows.
All right, I put more into this. I'll write them all up. What the bleeding hell are they getting themselves into?
I'm not sure. But for how long it has taken them, I'm certain we could have handled it faster.
Hey, all you do is go find what's going on, correct it, and move on.
Exactly. And if it was based on all the horses, bandits, raiders, you kill them and raid their shit.
From your words, from your lips up to the god's ears. Pick one. I don't care at the moment.
I mean, it does not take long.
No. No. Maybe they sat down, had a little bit of a kumbaya thing, sang around, tried some stories, sang a bit of thing, maybe did a waltz or something, some crazy thing, and then
Idiot
did
man.
the thing. I mean, if they did a jamboree and they're going to come back with all the fantastic stories of what they learned.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. And if they don't bring back someone for me and you to interrogate, they probably only learned half of it.
Wait, you're going to let me interrogate you, really?
Of course.
Awesome. This is great. I haven't done it in a while.
So as you all plot and wait for the men to come up, I think we're going to break right here. As Augustine, Snatcher, and Miguel, they're bringing wagons up. You're going to have a hard time. You may have to send back somebody to get some more of the wagons, because there were 5 wagons and you had 3 horses. Even trying to use the people to pull them, you won't be able to get all 5 up. But I know you took the goods loaded one for sure. The rest of them are food stuff that you can send the guards down to get with some of those nice horses that are setting up here in your fort. As you all...
On the way up, that first village that is part of our area,
yes,
I'm going to let them know that there's some things that to pick up for them, that there's food supply for them.
Are you going to turn the food over to them?
I'm going to turn one of the,
Okay.
Whatever carts that we can't take care of ourselves, we'll give to the villagers as a good little gesture.
And we're going to go to break here, everybody. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Please enjoy the break music, and then we'll see what happens when the full men get back to camp and have to explain what they just did.
Idiot men.
Idiot men. Yeah. Explain what they just did. See you in 10 minutes, everybody. Welcome back. Before the break, nope, they found out why they weren't getting shit through the pass. But they did get some nice horses out of it and some people.
We did.
While we were on break off camera, we were discussing the roads of these characters and violations that may have or may not have occurred. Snatcher passed his roll check. Miguel, did you make yours? 1 success is enough. You've made your roll check too. So neither of you lost a dot on your paths right now. As we open up, it has been a grand total of about 5 hours since they left. Now, night comes early in the mountains here. So you still have a number of hours before dawn when, for Elena and Peregrine, you see Augustine, Snatcher, and Miguel come up with 2 wagons and a group of people. 4 people.
I've also masked again as I'm carrying 2 people.
I turn it over to you all as they come into the camp with the wagon.
I'm gonna jump down and immediately go towards the fort that we relocated. Damalena, I believe that these gentlemen are from your homeland. They were setting up a bandit camp. Apparently, this is why we have gone dry on this side of the road. There were more of them. We dispatched them. These are the ones that could walk.
She approaches and gets very close to Augustine, and she looks each of them square in the eye, but does not blink.
You see that it's clear from their condition. Broken arms, broken hands. Some of them not doing well from walking up. One of them, as soon as you stop, kind of collapses to the ground, holding his ribs.
She speaks in Slavonic. Stealing from your own is grievous sin.
One of them looks up at you. Gotta make a living, gotta feed our family somehow, and then he spits at the ground in front of you.
Then you must work.
I was.
No, you were stealing. Thieves. And then she walks up and grabs his chin.
You can see the fear in his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
The pain, the shock of the shock portion is worn off. He's in a lot of pain, and he's feared. He's trying to
be brave.
He's trying to be brave.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going over well. He can't look you in the eyes. His eyes want to cut every way but at you.
And then she turns her head back to Augustine and speaks in the lingua franca. I shall interrogate this one.
He obviously understood that because he tries to take a step back. Of course, you don't let go of his chin. But
no, she's got a death grip on him. And then she turns back and just stares at him.
My instinct was to slap him the moment he would waste his blood like that, but I figured that you had other plans for them. Shall I line them up for you in order of ability to withstand such questioning?
Yes. Peregrine and I will interrogate.
Of course.
Snatcher will gesture down at the... I'm guessing by this point, with being dragged up a mountain pass with shattered legs, he's passed out by this point.
Oh, yeah.
If
he woke up, screamed, and then passed out. Yes.
Fair enough. If he regains consciousness, this is the last one that I saw speaking to the leader. The leader, unfortunately, has a terrible condition of an arrow shaft through his chest.
That is good.
And then Snatcher pats the man unconscious on his shoulder, and this is the fort's new cook. He's under my care.
Excellent.
That guy is also unconscious right now from the pain.
Yeah, I'm going to take him to my ghouls very shortly so they can just watch over him and make sure that he's not going to, die or anything.
Okay.
Should any of them survive and are willing to make amends, we could use more guards.
We shall see if they can be trusted.
I will defer to your judgment as to whether or not they're trustworthy enough to take up such position. Miguel would nod to everyone, and he is going to go off to find his ghoul.
Okay.
I'm going to go over to the horses and quickly tell them, good job. Thank you for listening to me.
And you see they are being well cared for.
Pet every single one
I
of
would
them.
hope, yeah.
They're not lathered up anymore from the run. That's a good thing.
They've been watered and fed, and they've got fresh hay in their stalls.
And they will sleep standing up comfortably.
So Peregrine and Elena are going to go and interrogate.
Yes.
Miguel will also point out that they have sent the food to one of the villages.
That is good.
So the viewers are aware, we are not going to go into detail on the interrogation scenes. That's not something we need to stream. But it takes a bit of time. Two of them do not survive the interrogation. They're pretty badly hurt. The one that gave you the most info, though, is, of course, the one that Snatcher pointed out was talking to the leader. He points out that they were contacted and hired at a Bucharest about a month ago to form the core of this group. And they recruited along the way anyone that they could find of more greed than morals.
Elena also requested a description of whom recruited them.
That they don't have. He tried to tell you. He couldn't. Could not describe. No matter how much he wanted. He kept screaming he could see him, but can't describe him. But you know, based on the time, if it was about a month ago, they were hard pressed to make it here in time.
Yes, they were.
It was a hard ride.
That would take a lot of money, too.
A lot of spare horses.
Oh, Elena has a good idea who sent them.
The carts were bought, oddly enough, from the villages at the base of the hill or base of the pass, as well as the draft horses. They apparently had real good riding horses at one point, but they traded those for the draft horses. You figure 4 or 5 wagons were already sent down the mountain before you all stopped them. They were levying a pretty high toll. I will turn it after the interrogation. I'll turn you back to have your discussion about what you've got. We're not going to go too far into details. 2 of them are survived, not in good condition. One of them you don't think is going to live through the week.
But the one that spoke had the most info will.
He will live.
Crippled, but
He will never walk right again. Because even though he didn't get broken legs, there's a lot of damage.
Augustine,
Malena.
I have information I will share with everyone. Peregrine and I were able to get good information.
Excellent.
The one that was speaking to the leader, he had the most information, and he is the sturdiest. You might consider assisting him in his healing.
If it is your wish, of course.
Because he may be useful.
Let me gather the other men then,
Good.
and I'll get everybody together.
Now, while this was going on, Miguel, what were you doing with your ghoul? You're muted, can't hear you.
Since there is no suitable priest around, she would hear his confession.
As you confess the sins of the night.
And other sins.
You are going to be busy for the next night or two with penance for this one.
He is. He has also prepared her for a little trip that may need to be made.
Okay.
Someone is going to go down to that village to talk to the blacksmith. And with it being more than a night's ride, that's going to make it a little bit different. Difficult for any of us to meet with him K-night to person.
Brother Miguel, it is best if I go. That side of the border is Eastern Orthodox. They will listen to me.
I will confer with the others. While I do not know the full scope of what our needs are, one of them may have a better understanding. One of them may also have retainer more used to negotiations.
I can always impress upon them their duty to serve the church and remind them, of course, that the church pays for the services and pays well. Let me know, Brother Miguel.
I will keep that in mind when I present this to the others.
Let me know. And do not forget your penance. And she turns back to reading. It's not a Bible. She reads a number of various texts. Most of them are theology and theological philosophy, the nature of God and the place of all things in the universe or in the world as they know it, and turns back to it. By the time you're done speaking with your nun, You see Elena and Peregrine come out bloody, but they come out from the interrogation. And I turn it all over to you all to have a discussion.
Damn, you all just reminded me how hungry I am.
There's plenty to eat, my friend. Look at all
Later.
these horses that we have now.
No. Those horses did such a good favor for me. I couldn't eat them.
There's a severely injured captive that you can partake of. He will not make it the week.
Shame.
The other will make a good guard. He was very willing to disclose lots of information. They were hired in Bucharest about a month ago. When I asked for a description of the man that hired them, he said he could see him, but he could not verbalize the description at all. Considering how long it took us to get here, traveling day and night, and it took them a month to come around the other side, literally, probably by ship. That would require excellent riding horses to traverse lands when not on ship. That requires money. And I know someone that's wee pissed off in Bucharest.
Forgive me, I do not know who is in Bucharest.
The gentleman at the slave stocks.
I'm going to point out that was Budapest, not Bucharest.
Oh, sorry.
But the reach is rather far.
Yeah.
Because you knew he served a Methuselah,
Exactly.
true elder.
Mm-hmm. I believe that even though he was in Budapest, it would not be difficult to recruit some from Bucharest.
Storyteller, since Bucharest was the nearest city to where Miguel was based out of, and that's where his leather goods would have been traded, would there be any knowledge of potentially of who any known figures in the area of in Bucharest that would have such a pull?
In the seedier parts of Bucharest, there is a price for anything you want. There is, if you're willing to pay the money, you can hire anybody for just about anything. You also happen to know that there is a number of kindred that operate airborne message services out of there. It's very easy to get someone to fly a message in and out to pass things from a distance. Pretty much all the major cities in Transylvania have a way to send messengers from one to the other. Important messages, at least airborne. In Transylvania, it's normally bats.
Would I have known? Typically, that would be a central place for these bats to fly to.
Bucharest is on the eastern edge. A lot of times, if they're moving on to somewhere like Constantinople, Bucharest is the stopping point before sending additional messages to Constantinople or south and towards more of the Holy Lands. It's also, Bucharest is not far from the Black Sea, which also makes it easier to get transport out there to send messages out as well. It's a very good place if you're trying to send messages east of Transylvania or south of Transylvania. And to remind you, this is the time before Constantinople has fallen. It has not fallen yet.
Would there be any role that I can make to make any connection?
Sure. I always like to let people roll. Intelligence, trying to think what we would go with it. You had a shop there, so I'll let you use intelligence survival.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
You knew how to survive on those streets, right?
Yep.
Knowing the seedy motherfuckers in the city would be a survival trait, wouldn't it?
Fucking ones. That's a botch.
From looking and hearing what's been discussed now, you think kind of strikes you as something the Ventru commonly do. You don't realize it's a botch, so you know. You think it sounds like a Ventru plot.
This is the type of bullshit that Ventru would have pulled. And we know Radu seems to have had issues with them.
However, it could also be someone not Ventru making it look like something a Ventru would do. So, until we know more. But it does concern me that, obviously, the captive's mind was altered. To not be able to speak a description of Ziman.
Aye.
But there are many that are capable of that if they apply themselves.
Is there a chance that Count Ragu was the one to set this up and is continuing his quest to doom us to fail?
Radu has himself a win-win situation here.
Oh.
The politics of this is, if we succeed, that is a feather in his cap. If we fail, we are the scapegoats.
So then there's no sabotage needed. Either way, he gets what he wants.
Exactly. That's why I do not think it is Radu. However, it could be any of his enemies, of which I do not know enough about.
The more I think about it, the more I agree with them. Elena, the only thing he gains from our failure is the weakening of our sires, because they're the ones that handed us over to him.
Exactly.
Why would he attempt to go to war with at least 4 different K-Knights?
Exactly. He is not heavily invested in our success, but I do not believe he would be intentionally attempting to sabotage. And a month ago is way before I sent his 2 spies back.
It's been a month since you sent them, but how long it takes. They probably won't.
It wasn't. It was a week since I sent them.
We said it. We've skipped a month since that event, but they
Oh.
probably arrived there because you didn't give them horses.
Right.
They've only been there 2 weeks.
Right.
At Rad and Bistris.
At best, if they even made it back to Bistris, they've been there 2 weeks.
Yeah, you did not give them horses.
By foot, it would have taken them 2 weeks to traverse.
And you didn't give them food.
And they would have to stop to rest, stop to hunt, stop to get water.
Yeah, this is definitely not the Radu's handiwork.
However, if it is Bucharest, it is not far from Constantinople. Who knows, it could be Vakos trying to weaken us so we have to get more favor from him. But it is conjecture until we know more.
It's difficult to make some look weak when they handle things so well. And I'll turn and look at Miguel and Augustine on that one, actually.
Thank you, gentlemen, for handling the encampment.
Thank you for caring for the horses.
And of course, they are tradable commodities.
And highly cooperative.
I have
The
a way.
cooks.
I have a way with animals.
The cooks that were hired by these bandits. There's a village further down the pass. Unfortunately, it is further than a night's ride. With a blacksmith. My understanding is that we need them.
Indeed, we desperately do. We are doing piecemeal repairs on tools at this point.
Well, I do have my crew who I can send. She is not the best at negotiations, but she does have the religious drive that may provide, if they are either Orthodox, to maybe convince that way to have them come here.
Even in my lands, women should not travel alone. Bodan can accompany her. He
Very
speaks
well.
the language for those that do not speak the lingua franca. And it can at least appear as if he is her companion, her god, whatever. And he's quite capable.
Would this weaken us on our guard duties? Should I have Mario replace him?
For the time being, until they return.
Understood.
But it would be best. While I believe my people have gone converted on these outlands, it's not to say they all have. So it is best to take Bodan with her, just in case.
Very well.
And we have horses for them to ride too.
With spares.
With spares.
And you have a cart in case you need to bring back the anvil or anything like that.
Yes, I will send her with my horse, and that way, should the worst happen, we know we have one that will return here.
I will have Bodan also take a cart in case the blacksmith has effects he wishes to bring with him. And I will ensure that they both have some of the levy in case they need it for negotiations. I personally would go in and take back the shit that was stolen. But that is me.
So seeing as you all now have a plan, and you've dealt with another crisis, I think this is a good point to where to end this episode, everybody. The building of the fortress. Money is running low. They need some more money to pay the workers. Some of their goods didn't come in. And they really do feel there's the hand of another. They can feel the hand of another involved in this. This is where we're going to end Season 1, Episode 6 of Vampire Dark Ages, Glimpses of History. And you start with a base of 3. I'm giving everybody an extra XP this episode. You'll get 4. Augustine, Snatcher, and Miguel get 1 for creative handling of the situation. And because Elena and Peregrine had to sit there for most of the episode, I'm giving them the bonus as well. As sometimes that's the way the scenes are. It happens. So everybody gets 4 XP this episode. So, ta-da, I'm a benevolent storyteller. In the long term, it won't matter. 800 years of kindred history means they're going to have so much XP. It's not going to matter in the end. But I do thank everyone for coming, and I thank my players. Please join us on the Discord. This show is cast from the Discord. This is where we get our players from. And we just recently closed our casting call for a new Vampire V5 Modern Knights. And there's an open casting call right now for a Monster Hearts game run by Mama McStabber there. And you'll actually recognize some of the players in it. Augustine there, which is Ravnos Archon, and Junie Von Esch. Peregrine, they'll also be in it, plus whoever the new casting is going to be. So definitely join the Discord. Go ahead, Maddox.
I was just going to say, folks, get in on some lovely CW teenage drama and Monster Hearts.
Fuck yeah, it's awesome.
So
Young adults, at this point, you're early 20s, I think?
Early to
True.
mid-20s, yeah.
True, starting to get into the actual
Adulthood.
real life Maddox
Yeah.
age on that one.
To be fair, the actors in those teen
All are
CW
also-
shows
yeah.
Yeah, they're all in their
30.
20s,
So,
yeah.
that makes sense.
What, you don't have 30-year-old John Travolta as a high schooler? Come on. Just saying. So apply for the Monster Hearts. It's a good chance to play with some people. It's going to only be 3 or 4 episodes, so it's a little more relaxed. It's not quite as high tension as something I run. So jump in on that. Join our Discord. Read the casting call in the casting couch, and if it's interested as you, jump in that. You want to catch back episodes of this and all of our other streams. We have so many fucking streams in the back catalog. Pop over to our YouTube. You can get not just Dark Ages, our Windy City Chronicle, which just finished up. You can get Werewolf, Changeling, Mage, Demon, Wraith. We've got, dear God, most of the Vampire or World of Darkness splats. Monster Hearts, the first one we did. Zasarkala, Night Hearts, Bluebeard's Bride, Paranoia. We love streaming, and we've streamed so much shit. And it's all there for you. If you want to see some Call of Cthulhu or D&D 5e, pop over to Ishvel's channel. You can catch all that because that's where that is. And If you want to see some friends, the RPG table right down here. She streams. We'll give her a chance after the schedule to see what she's doing. Ravnos Archon over here. Check their channels out. There's the links. Remember those because we're going to bring up what they're doing on their own in a minute here. If you want to get some merch, get you some McStabber Studios merch. We don't have any Dark Ages merch, but I'm sure after this season, we'll have some ideas for some.
We just need a t-shirt that says Stampede with an exclamation point.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be one with idiot men.
Hey, those idiots didn't hurt any of our people.
How
so
many
we're
horsepower
fine.
does it take to stop a guard?
24.
24.
I just want to spill the can of ragu that says you too can be a count.
There's another one. Poor Radu. You're not going to stop calling him Ragu, are you?
I know. I actually didn't think about it when I said Radu.
You bastard.
No, I'm purposefully never going to say Radu on stream ever again.
You bastard.
You just did.
Aside from now.
Yep. So, bits and donations, those go to the players you see on stream, not to the studio. It's a way to give something to the players. It's not much. But as you can tell, I mean, look, we're all wearing outfits. It costs money to put on a stream like this. So bits and donations, they go to the players. If you want to give to the studio, subscribe on Twitch. Go to our KoFi. There's a link there. If you're watching on YouTube, like the video, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification icon. All that shit raises our views on YouTube and makes us a little more money. We are up to a whole $32 this month on YouTube. Whole 32. Hey, that's a new high for us. So apparently people like Dark Ages on YouTube. So I'm good. It's good to see that. I think I covered all the main. Yes, I did. Now I can turn it over to my lovely wife for our schedule.
All right. So coming up over the next week, we have on Friday, Ravnos Archon here is going to be running Star Wars, 8 p.m. Eastern, with Junie down there and some other amazing players.
And a Sith cutting people in fucking half.
Yeah, shit happens.
Lightsabers cauterize wounds. Calm down, everyone.
Don't start nothing, won't be nothing.
That's right. Fuck around, find out.
It may cauterize the wound, but half a body is still half a body.
But anyway, so that's Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Then on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, I believe Tiss is back. I have no
Tiss is
idea
back
what
this
she's
week.
doing. So, but it's going to be Call of Cthulhu 7E London Esoteric Society if she is back. So that's Saturday at 3 p.m. And then on Sunday, what time we starting it?
Noon.
At noon until 10 p.m. It is going to be a marathon starting with the first season of Windy City After Dark. You can tune in, have it just playing in the background while you do stuff during the day, and catch it from the beginning. Yep.
All the sus-ass shit that went on starting at the very beginning.
Yep. And then, of course, next Wednesday, we'll be back here, 8 p.m. Eastern, with more Dark Ages.
We got 4 episodes left, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
4 in this season. And I'm sure the storyteller does not have anything dark planned for the last 4. Sure, they've dealt with the only interruption to their pass, I'm sure. We'll see. Of course, let's give a chance for some people to say what they're doing.
Don't make Elena go back to take her ass back to Constantinople to knock some fucking skulls around, okay?
We have
do it
all
while
these
you
new
can.
horses that we can take traveling.
I noticed nobody wants to send him to Radu. You're like, no, we'll trade him to the villagers. We'll anything but Radu. Fuck him. He don't get a horse.
Who?
Radu, I'm not saying it.
Who's that? Who?
Who that is?
Pasta
I don't
sauce.
I don't know no Radu.
Oh,
Almost feels like a
us
jar of
crap
pasta
fucking
sauce.
guards. Fuck him.
Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry. We don't do charity.
Yeah.
And he's charity.
He sent
I
you
don't know
2
her.
crap guards. Look, you have Nikolai now who's taking control. He is a fine, upstanding guard that I'm sure will last the whole season.
I'm sure he will until he fucks
With a
up.
name like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nikolai.
Yeah, he gonna get got. Mm-hmm.
I would never murder variations of Nicholas. Never.
You would in a heartbeat.
So let's see what everyone's doing around here. Zach, tell everybody where they can find you, what you got going on other than this, all that good stuff.
You can find me in St. Louis. Wait, no, I'm sorry, that's Nelly. I can be found the stuff that I do, writing, but links to old streams can be found at zachrules.com. There are there's social media sites that I have no clue if I am on them. You probably shouldn't look for me there. I don't know what's happening with the health site. By the time you watch this, if you're watching on VOD or on YouTube, it might be gone. Who knows? But I am Zach Rules there, and my backup is Zach Rules at dice.camp.
And, go to Zach Rules' site there. Check out his Storyteller Vault, his drive-through RPG stuff. It's another way you can support the players in the game, because he published stuff. He's got some good source books, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So check him out. And then, Junie, what about you?
Hi, I'm Jenny Vanish. You can find me everywhere on the internet because that is where I live. But you can also find me here. Not only at my channel, Jenny Vanish, you'll also find me on the RPG table. You can find me also on usually Friday nights at Raw Call for DC by Night. You'll find me here again on Friday for Star Wars. And then next month here for Monster Hearts. And then I'm on someone's channel every other Thursday. He's here somewhere. I don't know. He's playing the Spanish, La Sombra. Yeah, Ravenos. I'm on that for 7th Sea. You'll also find me also on Discord, Cajun Nights. I'm a moderator. It's Play by Post server for all of your World of Darkness needs.
Snatcher, what about you?
You will find me on my ass most days.
And if you go to our YouTube, you'll find him in Demon the Fallen, where he played Carsador, the Malefactor, which was pretty fucking awesome.
Yes. I somehow feel like I acted more monstrous than Carsador this episode. I'll be honest. He wouldn't be that irrational. And in that way.
You can also see him on the first Monster Heart stream. Snatcher's been around here. Maddox there has been on a number of our shows. So watch our YouTube back episodes. You'll see him popping up in the strangest places. Ravenous Archon, what about you?
Hi, everybody. I have my own channel here on Twitch. I do Vampire 5th Edition on Mondays. We're taking a break now, but I normally do Werewolf of the Wild West or Legend of the Five Rings on Tuesdays. Every other Thursday, I do run a 7th Sea campaign, which I've fallen in love with the system. Every Wednesday, you can catch me here being the lovable La Sombra that I am. And every Friday until the end of the month, you can catch our Star Wars on McStabber Studios because, we're going to see what happens now that Exar Kun's been let loose in the galaxy.
I heard a rumor you're even thinking of a new Mage Chronicle at some point in the future.
One audition at a time, but there may or may not be a full 10-episode seasonal modern Mage game coming soon. So
Noted.
For those that don't know, Ravnos Archon is the McStabber Studios Mage storyteller. He handles Mage when we stream it.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Consider my fist shaken.
Yep. So if you like Mage, be on our Discord. Keep an eye out for that casting call because it'll go up at some point. May not be this week, may not be this month, but it will go up.
At some point.
Because Ravnos Archon is our Mage storyteller and we love Mage. So just so you're aware on that one. And as we always in these streams, everybody, mental health. It's not a joke. It's not a laughing matter. It's very important that you take your mental health seriously and you take everyone else's mental health seriously. Please reach out to those around you, those that you haven't heard from for a while, even the ones you've heard from. Let's be fair. Masking is a thing that a lot of people are very good at. So please reach out to those that you know and make sure they're okay. Because when you're on the edge, it just takes a lifeline. Somebody reaching out saying, are you okay? Sometimes to back people off it and to help them when they need it, to be that hand they need. And if you suffer from mental health issues like most of us out there do, don't be afraid to reach out to those around you because it's okay to not be okay. The stigma that's attached to mental illness should not be a thing. There's nothing wrong with admitting you need help once in a while. It doesn't change who you are as a person. It just makes you self-aware enough to understand who you are. So please, if you suffer from mental health issues and you feel you need to reach out to those around you. And if you can't, in chats, a list of numbers you can call or text 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And there will be a professional on the other end of the line that can be the lifeline you need to talk to you and help you out. And if you're not in the U.S., I know we have non-U.S. viewers. Findahelpline.com. Go to that website, put in your country of origin, and you can find the helplines you need. That applies to those who are watching this on YouTube, since we don't have all the numbers linked in our YouTube, because that would make our YouTube information pane just way too big. Findahelpline.com. That one can tell you in the country you're at, even if it's the U.S. So please, everybody, mental health is health. Take care of yourselves and take care of your fellow humans. Even take care of people like this storyteller who is human with quotation marks some nights. And I'll turn it over to my lovely wife for her portion of the outro.
All right, everybody. Y'all know Mama McStabber here. I'm a registered nurse, and I take care of folks on the daily that have mental and medical issues. They all work together, y'all. They all work together. So take care of this and take care of all this, because seriously, it's important. Get your vaccines, please. There is no reason why nearly eradicated illnesses like polio are making a comeback. Okay, except for widespread misinformation. Vaccines are safe. They are effective. And herd immunity through vaccination is so vital to preventing debilitating and even deadly illnesses. Please. Also, get your preventative screenings done if you are due or overdue. Get it done. Get your checkups, your physicals, and if you're not feeling well, please get checked out. Okay, your primary care has resources available, whether it's referrals to specialists, referrals for procedures, referrals for labs, or even referrals for mental health if you need it. So please, get checked out if you're not well. And fuck the fascists. Please make sure you are ready to vote in 2024. I know it's a presidential election, but you know what else is on that ballot? Every fucking member of the House of Representatives, because all of them are up for re-election in 2024. So please, and your local stuff is on there too. So please intend to be voting in 2024. And if you live in a Republican-controlled area, whether that's a county, city, whatever, make sure you double check closer to the election time that you are still registered to vote, especially if you're a Democrat in those areas, because there has been known in recent cycles suppression of voters by dropping registrations on Democrats in Republican territories. So please, especially those of minorities. So please do what you need to, be a good citizen and vote.
Remember, trans rights are human rights.
Absolutely.
Body autonomy is a human right.
Reproductive health is a human
right. Let me tell you, whether you agree or not, I don't care. But politicians should not be making decisions about human health. That is what doctors are for, not politicians, not bureaucrats.
One last thing I'm going to say, this is Disability Pride Month. And the one thing I'm going to say about that, treat disabled people with respect. Okay? They barely get anything on SSDI. And they can't work really while on it, because if they make too much, they stop getting it. And invisible illnesses, invisible disabilities are valid. Mm-hmm. Said with love.
Yep. And I do thank everyone for coming. We're in for some more dark shit. We're not done this season yet. So I thank you all for coming. Good night, everybody.